There we go. Welcome everybody. Good Saturday morning. It's the No Guts No Story, and I am sorry we're starting a few minutes late, and I have another one right after this. So today is going to be a short segment, but a powerful topic. So I want to welcome everybody. If you're just coming on, I do this call every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central, and just a little bit of positive that can come into your week. So hopefully you are tuning in, having a great day. Drop in the comments where you're tuning in from. And good morning, everybody. Hi, Ella, Sarah, Tanya, Donna. Good morning, Dick Bolt. I see so many of you every Saturday tune in, and then I'm like, okay, I can't miss a Saturday, because afterwards I always get so many messages about how it helped somebody. So if it helps just one person, it'll be worth the time and effort. But every Saturday morning I wake up thinking, what is the message for this week? And it's crazy because it is a very busy time for us right now. In fact, I don't think we've ever had so much going on at one time. And our company that we own is having its first virtual, not an annual convention, but virtual convention in Dallas, and we leave Monday. I'm actually going to be gone 2 weeks. And so the next couple of days, we're trying to cram everything in that we need to get done. Drop in the comments how many of you can relate. You feel like you're going 100 miles an hour. You're busy. You have so much going on. Thank you, Tanya. You look great too. So this week, I really focused a lot on energy. And I wanted to talk today about how you can manifest anything you want to happen. And it was crazy because one day, and some of you know, I always see this one number that shows up all the time. And it was, I think, yesterday, Thursday, I was thinking about my son, and I looked at my text messages, and I had 315 messages, and I was like feeling a little overwhelmed, and I was like, 316 is the next number. And I said, I bet Chance is going to text me. And the crazy thing was, I got a text from Chance, and I screenshotted it, and I sent it to him, and I said, you're not going to believe it, but I just made that happen. And some people think it's crazy, you guys. Some people think it's nuts. But the power of your mind and your energy and your thoughts and focusing on all good is such a co-creator of everything that happens in your life. And when I first started really studying manifestation, I was skeptical. And I'll tell you why, because I'm a Christian. And some of the books that I was reading, I thought, are these people really believers? And you can't shoot the messenger over the message, right? If you go through the Bible, everywhere, it says hundreds of times, as a man thinketh, so is he. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and the door shall be open. Or knock and the door shall be open. Seek and ye shall find. Like, you will see so many times where it talks about the power of your mind and faith. In fact, you'll hear them, a lot of pastors talk about having faith even the size of a mustard seed and what it can do. And inside of every single one of us is this co-creator of our entire life. So if we are thinking, I am a victim, nothing good is ever going to happen for me, God isn't real, the devil has got a hold of me, I'm going through hell, like we say all these things, we get more and more and more and more of that. But when you know, like when you just say, like, good things are going to happen for me today, I am excited because amazing things are going to happen for me today. Or maybe you have a horrible situation going on with your health, or one of your children, or maybe a class in school or college, or somebody at work. And then you say, I know this is going to work itself out. I know that God already has the outcome. It's already figured out. There's going to be a victory. It's already been claimed. I just have to, get down off the cross and quit pretending that I'm Jesus and I can fix everything. Then what happens is everything falls into place. And sometimes that is easier said than done, especially when we want to control everything. And I'm guilty of this. We want to control everything, fix everything, and make everything better. So today I just wanted to do a short segment. And one of the best books that you can read is The 4 Agreements. And I keep it on my desk all the time, and I try to remind myself of it every day. And there's a copy in the car. But these are the hardest 4 agreements in the world. Like, it is really hard to do this. So let me remind you of these before I go to the next book I would recommend. Number 1, be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. And sometimes this is hard, especially in a small town, because somebody will say something about someone and it's hard for you to not chime in one way. Oh, I got a cat here that wants to help me. It's hard for you to not chime in one way or the other, right? And what I have learned to say is that really true? Do you really think that's true? And just question it. And, it's hard to not defend. It's hard to not say. And sometimes you might even get caught up in it. But the reality is every single one of us are human. Every single one of us make mistakes. And being impeccable with your word is one of the hardest things, because when you have an opinion about something, you want to interject, right? The only way to really communicate is to state your opinion. If nobody ever argued their opinion, there wouldn't even be a conversation. You'd just be like, And sometimes that's the best thing to do, because when we talk badly about other people, even if we believe they're wrong, even if we believe they're whatever we're saying, when we talk badly about them, what we really attract is out of the vortex. It's bad things coming back to you. So what you put out is going to come back to you 10 times. The second, so be impeccable with your word. The second is don't take anything personally. I can't tell you how many times someone has called me or told me something that someone else said about me. And it used to really bother me because I didn't have a high self-esteem. But when you know that you know that you know that you're being intentional, that you're doing amazing things, that you have a great intention, a good heart, your motive is right, when you're looking to serve other people and you're not doing anything that you would say is lacking integrity, then you know that you know that you know. And it doesn't matter what happened in your past, because you know who you are today. And so many times people want to bring up the past. In fact, we have thousands of thoughts every single day. Most of them are about the past and not about the current or the future. People want to keep digging it up, digging it up, digging it up. And I will have people that'll call me and say, well, I talked to so-and-so, but, they didn't want to get in business with me because, they heard that this is this or this is that, or something about somebody, or they read something on the internet or whatever. And, the reality is you have to understand that there is a big world out there that's against you, not for you. And if you're in the vortex, which means that you're in alignment, you have good intentions. And I really believe when you look at frequencies and energy, if you think of God, what is God? God is all love. He's vibrating all good, all love, feeling good all the time. Anything less than that, it's completely out of the vortex. So imagine a tornado is spinning, right? And you're caught in it and it's all good and it's taking you to this amazing place. And then all of a sudden you get out of it. You're just thrown wherever. When people are in the vortex and they're in alignment is how I would really explain it. They're in the flow. Everything good happens to them. People say, oh, they just get lucky. Everything they touch turns to gold. They're just so lucky. They're so fortunate. They were just born with a silver spoon. And that's not always true, right? Sometimes it's that people are attracting all good all the time, all blessings, and even good people get out of the vortex where they're learning lessons over and over and over again. And they're thinking, why are so many bad things happening to this good person? Well, it's all part of that person's journey. And what you learn is to get in the vortex and to stay in the vortex and not get out of it. When you get in the flow, you want to stay in the flow and not get out of it. But when you take things personally, and that's the second law of the 4 agreements, don't take anything personally. When you do, it's how you are seeing yourself, and how you see yourself and what you're projecting is what you get more of. So nothing that other people are doing is because of you. Nothing that is happening to other people is because of you. It's their own reality. It's their own dreams. It's their actions. It's their mistakes. It's their words that they said or things that they did. And when we're immune to the opinion of everyone else, or the actions of everyone else. And this is hard when you're a mom, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. So drop in the comments, who's suffering? Who's suffering? Like, there is so much suffering in this world, right? And a good friend of mine who, his wife was my age and we were really good friends. And she was a dance mom. She had 5 kids all in dance. We went to a lot of competitions together. We traveled together. She taught me different kinds of wine one night. I'll never forget it. And never been a drinker really. And she was like, if you just have a glass of wine after dinner, and I was listening to them, they had this whole wine cellar, and she was telling me about their hobbies, and we were just having so much fun, our girls, and she had a boy also that was dancing. And shortly after that, maybe 5 or 6 months after that, she came to a dance recital and she said, I need you to put my daughter's eyelashes on. She said, I can't do it. And I was like, what's wrong? And she said, well, I have been diagnosed with a certain disease. And I can remember thinking, how in the world can an amazing Christian mom with so many wonderful things? She sang in her church. She donated her time. She was the best mom. She was the most amazing wife, have such a horrible, horrible disease. And she passed away about a year later, my age. And it was so hard for me to imagine something so bad happening to people that were so good. But her husband had such an amazing attitude. One thing he said to me, he said, in this world, on this planet, it is nothing but redemptive suffering. And he said, we have to take our eyes off of ourselves and think, how can we serve more, love more, do more, be more, give more? He said, we just have to think that there is an eternal life someday that's so much bigger than this. And where we're at right now, it's always redemptive suffering. Now, do we have to suffer every single day? No, but it's real on this planet. And what we have to do is step away from what's bothering us, step away from all the bad, step away from all the fear, step away from all of the sickness and the hatefulness and the fighting and the addiction and the stealing and shooting and anything bad. We have to step away from all that and take a look from the outside and say, this is a place where there is a lot of redemptive suffering, but I don't have to play the victim. I don't have to be involved in all that. I need to see it from a higher perspective. And I felt like this guy was so selfless in the way that he said, you know what, I know that my story is going to change a lot of people's lives. I know that her story is going to change a lot of people's lives. And on this planet, all I need to do is serve and witness. And someday there will be no more suffering. And I literally remember looking at him like, how are you so strong? How are you even saying these things? How are you speaking these things? But he was so in the vortex. I am telling you, so much in alignment with his beliefs and his faith that nothing was going to rock him. And when you have a conversation with someone that has well-meaning, they have their vindication, or not vindication, they have conviction, and they're not finding themselves to have everything bad happening to them all the time. They're always finding the good. They not only don't take anything personally, and they're not only impeccable with their word, but they don't make assumptions. Sometimes we make assumptions, and I can remember my grandpa even saying, when you make assumptions, it makes an ass out of you, M-E. I remember thinking, wow, that's crazy that that word says that. But we make assumptions a lot of times because we don't have confidence. And when a lion's going through the jungle and a little bitty kitty growls at him or says that lion is weak, or that lion isn't strong, or that lion is a liar or a thief or a cheater or a, crazy girl or whatever it says, the big lion doesn't turn around and hiss at the little kitty, because the big lion knows that he's the king of the jungle, right? And I think our own self-confidence has to come from within. We have to know that we are a child of the Most High God, that amazing things are going to happen for us, that we have talents and skills and blessings and dreams that are going to come true and things good that are going to happen for us that nobody can even imagine, because that's what we're entitled to, right? Because God wants us to have everything. Now, none of us are entitled to anything. Let me say that. But our Father, when you think of like what you want for your kids, you want good for your kids, right? We all want good for our kids. So you must believe that your Father would want good things for you. But you keep stopping the blessings because you can't get your body in the midst of this vortex that's spinning all good, your mind in this vortex that's spinning all good, because you keep getting out of it because of everyone else. And I'm not trying to be selfish when I say this. When I listen to these teachings, it does seem a little selfish. But vibrational energy, and when you think of God, God is enthusiasm. God is love. God is this high, happy vibration of all good. And when we get lower and lower and lower and lower, then we're not vibrating all good. We are like a train wreck. How many of you can relate? You're like, I am a train wreck. Everything bad is happening to me. Like, I need to get out of this vortex. Well, when you want to get away from what's bothering you, when you want to get away from what's scaring you, when you want to get away from conversations that are pulling you down or hurtful things that have been said, you really do have to be selfish and just go find your own quiet place where you think about all good and manifesting what you want. What you want. What do we all want? I really think we all want all the same things. We want the freedom to be able to do what we want with whoever we want, whenever we want, the money to be able to afford to make choices to do those things. And what we really want is just to be happy. And what makes you happy might be different than what makes somebody else happy. But people will do whatever they have to do to feel good. That's the sad thing. People will do whatever they have to do to feel good. Little children will do bad things to get attention because any attention is better than no attention. And I find that adults will do the same thing. You know, we have to, number 4, always do your best. Your best is you changing from moment to moment, being different. You want to be healthy instead of being sick. You want to be wealthy instead of being poor. Under any circumstance, if we just do our best, the best that we can do with what we've got, and we avoid self-judgment or judgment of others, self-abuse, regret, feeling guilty, you know, going back to the past and the past and the past and the past, to get in the vortex and really be in alignment, you have to focus on right now, feeling good right now. And my mentor used to tell us, anytime that you're feeling fear, anger, resentment, jealousy, judging other people, anxiousness, anything, he said, just stop and snap your fingers and say, feel good now. So we would have this little business card on our visor that said, feel good now. And feel good now meant listen to your favorite song, stop and pray and think about where you're at and where you want to be. You know, in America, you guys, there are 1,700 millionaires a day, according to the IRS. 1,700 new millionaires every single day. They say like every 6 seconds, a new millionaire is born. So when you think about that, why not you and why not right now? People suffer because of choices. People suffer because of their own thinking. People suffer because they won't get out of their comfort zone. They won't get around the right people, get out of the bad vibrations and get around the good. And what I have found is that if you want to be better, think of the 4th agreement, always do your best. Learn a new skill. Jump out of your comfort zone. Take a risk. Believe in yourself a little bit. Get a little bit of faith, even the size of a mustard seed, that you could be and do and have anything that you dreamt of. In order to get into that vortex where you're spinning all good and really good things are happening to you, you have to let go of all bad. So all bad means we can't talk about anyone. We can't think about any mistakes we've made in the past. We can't discuss other people because people that are doing big things discuss big ideas. They discuss big opportunities. They talk about their future and their dreams and their goals. People that aren't, they discuss people, the past, mistakes. They place judgment. They watch the news. They have to have their opinion about everything, and that's the only thing they talk about all the time. Those frequencies are where people get sick. That's where all of a sudden you develop disease. You all of a sudden find that you have a disease that's spreading, and you can't get your health better, and you can't get your immune system better, and you can't kick that cold, and you can't get rid of that cough, and the next thing you know, you have this wrong and that wrong and this wrong and that wrong. And you guys, I'm only telling you this because I've been there. I will tell you, I was that mom that had well-meaning, but I would have a kid that was struggling. And every conversation, if you would listen to me, even though I wanted all good for this child, I would talk about their poor decisions, their poor friends, their past, their mistakes, and what they were doing right now. And everything that I said was absolutely not in alignment with what I wanted. It was everything that I didn't want. And I'm not a slow learner, but it was a long 3 or 4 years of suffering. I'm just going to say it was horrible. And when you're going through something like this, if you don't know and you don't learn, you just continue to get the same thing over and over again. And one day I remember Dave and I were like, we're just going to release this whole thing. We're going to release everything. And we're going to focus on all good all the time. We know that we're not in control of the outcome, so we're going to stop playing like we're God, and we're just going to let go of it, and everything is going to work out. And would you believe, like a miracle, the minute that we released it and we got in the vortex, in alignment with everything that we wanted, our business exploded, a new company exploded, our children started flourishing, problems that we thought were never going to be solved started being solved, and everything good started happening. But vibrational frequencies are real. When you look up emotion, when you look up guilt, resentment, hate, I mean, they vibrate so low that it's almost as low as like death. And when you look up love and forgiveness and all these amazing emotions, you can go Google it. It'll show it to you on a frequency. And you guys, everything is energy. Everything is source energy. A tree is energy. This desk is energy. My shirt is, I mean, it's all a whole bunch of scientific little tiny molecules and atoms that are put together that make something. So when you have a dog that comes in, this is what this morning, the recording I was listening to, it said, a dog comes in, they can hear things that we can't hear because they're on a different frequency. And they smell things that we don't want to smell, but they're on a different frequency, and they can sniff out something long before it happens, right? And we could too, but we don't. We are like this. We're in, then we're out. Then we're in, then we're out. We're like a ship without a rudder. Wherever the wind blows us, that's where we go. We're going with the flow of everything that's happening in the world, in our business, in our family, in our finances, in our health, whatever. And when you start deliberate thinking, like I am going to be very deliberate about my thinking, and you get clear about what it is that you want, and you practice these thoughts, and maybe it is selfish. Maybe you do have to be selfish. I don't think that's a bad thing because it's going to affect your time, your money, your health, your relationships. Be selfish enough to care how you feel and stop the bleeding with all the people around you that are sucking the life out of you. And when it matters to you enough, and you know it's doing you a disservice to be involved, you will take action and you will say, stop. I have to have pure positive. I have to have a clear perspective. I have to have healthy thoughts. I'm seeking vitality and I'm eager about life and I want to manifest all good things. So in order to manifest good things, I can't talk about anything other than good things. So let's say that there's a fight going on in the middle of Main Street and you walk by it and you think that kid shouldn't be a bully. That kid shouldn't be fighting that kid. That kid shouldn't be beating up that kid. Now you can do what you want to project your good on it. But let me tell you something, that kid's probably still going to be a bully. That person that gossips is probably still going to gossip. That person that lies is probably still going to lie. I think about me trying to change everyone around me and how it drives me crazy. And I think of the Sermon on the Mount. And you think of this. Jesus was real, right? He was traveling. He was telling his story. He was manifesting miracles. He was on the road from town to town to town. And where he went, the blind would see, the crippled people would get up and walk, even the dead came back to life, like crazy miracles happened. And even though he was an amazing person, what happened? People talked bad about him. Now, when he went and told the story, people mocked him, people laughed at him, people threw stones at him, people said he's a liar, people did everything they could to stop him. People were perplexed. And what the Sermon on the Mount says is that Jesus didn't stop, have a meeting with all of his people about how to de-perplex the perplexed. He left them perplexed and he went to a new city to tell the story. People said, but why would they lie about you? He said, because they're the liars. Why are people mocking you and laughing at you? Because they're the mockers. Why would people be tearing you down? Because they're the bullies that tear people down. He didn't spend any of his time trying to de-perplex the perplexed, stop the liars from being liars, stop the mockers from being mockers and laughers. He just kept on going. And he built a pretty big business, didn't he? He built a pretty big church. Still today, there's mockers, laughers, liars, people throwing stones, everybody trying to stop it. But his deliberate thinking, his deliberate conviction about what he believed built a following. And I think about this with my business. I think about this in my family. I think about this in my little small town. I think about this with every single thing that I do. I can't change people. I can only change me. And I know where I'm going. Our company is exploding. Some people are going to, some people aren't. So what? Some will, some won't. So what? I will find the right people. Jesus only had 12. Built a pretty big, ginormous church on this planet, right? Everywhere you will find believers. And what you have to think about yourself is your own source energy. Give people something to believe in. Let people know what you stand for. Get in this vortex where you're literally saying, everything good is going to happen to me. I know I'm going to claim it. I'm going to believe it. Everything good is going to happen to me. But the minute you start talking, even one sentence about what you don't want, what used to be, what you're afraid of, the lack of instead of abundance, sickness instead of health, people not doing something instead of people doing something, lazy people instead of builders that are right in alignment with you, people that don't have interest instead of everyone that has interest, people that are going to buy instead of people that aren't going to buy. Like, think about this. I have a market in a week and a half in Atlanta, Georgia. First market I've been to since January 6th, other than the one we did in Dallas. A lot of money on the line. A lot of money on the line. A lot of money spent. A lot of inventory. A lot of time. Big risk. Now, I have two choices. I can say, I know it's going to be successful. Everyone's going to line up. That place is going to be packed. I know it's going to be a successful trade show. Or I can say, I wonder if I should even go. I'm kind of scared. I mean, I'm wasting my time. I could talk about my health challenges. I could talk about the money it takes to get there, being away from my family, everything that's going on here. It's a week after our virtual convention for our company, which is huge. And I can find every bad thing, or I can focus on the good. And I will tell you guys something. I go to markets where people don't sell anything. They will have 2 sales all week, and they'll be complaining. I lost money on my booth. I lost money on my airfare. I lost money on shipping. I lost money on all my employees. I had to cover my meals. I didn't even break even. And I just sit there and listen to them. And all I can think of is, why am I over here killing it and they only had 2 sales all week? It's deliberate thinking. It's what you expect is what you get. It's what you put out is what comes back. People can tell. Like a dog can tell if you're afraid he's going to bite you. People can tell. Do you have conviction? Do you have belief? Do you know what you're doing? Are you attracting them? Do you smile? Are you a little upbeat? Do you walk a little faster when you enter the room? Do you act like you own the place even if you don't? It's your own confidence and conviction and deliberate thinking. And when people get out of the vortex, they're thinking about fear. They're thinking about hate. They're thinking about jealousy. They're comparing themselves to other people. They're expecting the worst, or they're at least entertaining the thought of the worst instead of the good. And we get 100% what we think about all the time. Earl Nightingale, I usually have the CD laying right here. It's called The Strangest Secret. Dave and I listen to it all the time. Says you become what you think about most of the time. And if you don't have that CD, go look it up on YouTube right when we finish today and listen to it every day. It's about 5 minutes. It's The Art of Exceptional Living by Jim Rohn, where he says, whenever we want something different, we can move. We're not a tree. We can change our outcome if we change our thoughts. It's the law of attraction. It's the secret. It's the power of prayer. It's the power of your faith. I don't care what you call it. It used to make me afraid because I am a believer and I never wanted to give something credit other than God, right? But I will tell you guys, if he created us and we are source energy and he tells us we can have and do and be anything that we dream of, as long as I'm giving him the glory, as long as I'm doing it with the right intention, why wouldn't he want everything good to happen to me? It's not luck, you guys. It takes effort. And it's not that nothing bad ever happens. The bad has to happen to condition you to know the difference. It has to condition us to be able to say, by the grace of God, I got through this. And this is what I found. And this is what I learned. But if we don't witness and serve and understand that's the only reason we're on this planet, then we're never going to reach our full potential. And we have had so much, you know what happened to us, that I have found a way to always find the good and to get to the next level and the next level and the next level. And right now I have dreams so big, it would literally take me 2 lifetimes to live them all. Some people say, Barb, you're doing too much. Here's my thinking. I don't know how much time I have. I don't know how much time I have on this planet. And I didn't come here to just participate. I want to make a big difference. And if you guys want to make a big difference in your city, in your community, in your state, in your nation, in the world, you got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, how do I feel good right now? What do I want? What do I want to co-create? What do I want to experience? What legacy do I want to leave for my children? What do I want people to say about me when I'm gone? And how do I get out of this poor little me, plum disease, poor little pitiful me, into abundance and success and amazing things and books you could write and songs you could sing and poems that would be read and all of these good things that you could be bringing? It's all about your energy, you guys, and getting in alignment is more powerful than anything else that I could say to you. So how do you do that? Stop and meditate. Every morning, Dave will get up and stretch, and he always puts on the same like relaxation music, and he stretches, and he never misses a day. And then there's me. I'm like, I want to stretch with you. And I sit down, and then I think of something I have to do, and I go do that. And then I come back, and I'm like, I really want to stretch with you. And he's like, well, you have to do it every day. You have to do it every day if you think it's going to work and make your body feel better. You can't just be a little bit in and a little bit out. And it's the same way with the vortex, you guys. You either are in it and you know that all good things are happening, or you step out of it and you realize that you're just like a mess. The way that you get in it, it takes work. And every day you think deliberately about your thoughts. You think deliberately about your words that you speak. You think deliberately about your actions that you take. And are you really practicing being impeccable with your word, never making assumptions, always doing your best, and not taking anything personally? And that is not easy to do. But when the law of attraction happens to you, it happens to you because your subconscious mind is manifesting this, thinking about it all the time. When Cindy had cancer and they said there was no way that she would live, every day she said, don't say the word, I'm not claiming it. Every day she prayed and would thank in advance that she was seeing this new great grandbaby be born, and that she was healthy, and that good things were happening to her, and that she had her strength back. And when all odds were against her, I watched this woman manifest perfect health, no cancer. It's gone, not even a trace of it today. And November 13th will be 3 years since the diagnosis that said, it's November 13th, celebrate Christmas early. She won't make it to Christmas. She had one birthday, then she had another birthday, now about to have another birthday. And you guys, our thoughts are so powerful. Our thoughts and our words are so powerful that it doesn't matter what the doctor's report says. It doesn't matter what your bank account balance says. It doesn't matter what your boss says. It doesn't matter what your friends say. When you know that you know that you know, and you have conviction about your thoughts and you're deliberately thinking, you can co-create anything. Money in your checkbook, good health, a great relationship. Maybe you're single looking for a spouse. Maybe you want your kid to turn their life around. Maybe you want hateful people to quit being mean. You know, you can't change other people, but you can change you. And I would urge all of you to read the books. I would get the 4 Agreements. I love the book, The Law of Attraction. I love the book, The Magic of Thinking Big. I love the book, The Magic of Believing. I love the book, The Secret. But ultimately, we have to know that those are just books that were written by people who experience things. We have to keep our thoughts in alignment with our own beliefs. And as a man thinketh, so is he. You will become what you think about most of the time. And I remember when we played that so often when my son was in middle school, he said, I think I'm going to turn into a girl. And we all laughed. But it's true. We will attract what we think about every day. I was thinking about getting a new vehicle. All of a sudden, I passed a black Escalade everywhere I went. And I hadn't seen them before, but then all of a sudden, everyone had one. The other day, I said, I'm thinking about trading and getting that Lincoln. And it doesn't seem like it's as big, but I seen inside of it, and I love the way the inside was. And now everywhere I look, I see the Lincoln Navigator. You know, these things are all around us all the time. We just don't notice them until we start thinking about them. And then they show up everywhere. So whatever it is that you want to show up, start thinking about it all the time. Think about what you want, not about what you don't want. And put a rubber band on your wrist. And every time you're thinking a negative thought, fear, or something that was not good, snap it. Pretty soon you'll have a welt on your wrist. And you'll realize, just like Jesus, right? You can't change other people. But if you just go be you and be the best version of you, it's not selfishness. It's you deliberately co-creating the life that you want, the dreams that you want to come to fruition, the legacy that you want to leave, better health, abundance, new job, new location, new house, whatever it is. Last story. Dave and I were in a bankruptcy in 1995. And we had no money, no credit. Checks were bouncing. We couldn't even afford baby formula for Chance. Some of you have heard that story. Some of you have read my book. And I remember driving on our wedding week. We couldn't really afford a honeymoon. We went to the Bass Pro Shop. That was very, I loved it. I was so in love with him. I didn't care what he wanted to go do. So we went to the Bass Pro Shop and we looked at deer stands, and we spent some wedding money on a deer stand, and we went and ate pizza and played putt-putt, and we drove back home from Branson. We went to Silver Dollar City, got there, it was closed. Note to self, don't take your honeymoon to Silver Dollar City on April 10th. They don't open until May. So anyway, we drove back home, but we drove past some houses. And I remember telling Dave, I just want a house with big pillars on the front, big columns. And this guy was like a bull rider, blue jeans, a belt. Like, he would have been happy in a double wide trailer. And I was always trying to think how to put a circle drive, backlight it, and put some columns out front, right? Well, as luck would have it, we were renting. We could barely afford rent. We had one baby. 3 months later, we get pregnant with number 2. We're working all these businesses. The economy's horrible. That's the year Bob Dole was running for president. It was a lot like this year. Oil was in the toilet. Nobody had any money. Everything was bad. And I kept, this is before we were even in direct sales together, I kept thinking about the things that I had learned years and years ago when I was in Amway in high school about dreams and goals and putting your dreams on your dream board. And I had this house pictured. And one day I went to get my hair cut, and Cheryl Danielson, the lady that did my hair, said, I'm dating a guy. He's going through a divorce. I thought of you, Barb. He lives in a house like you've always dreamed of. She was my first boss when I did hair. She said, he's looking to just rent it and get out of it. And Dave and I moved into a 5-bedroom, 2-story, 5,000 square foot house for $500 a month, which was just a little bit more than what we were paying in rent. He financed it, rent to own, and we ended up buying that house and later selling it and buying our dream home. And it had 3 of the biggest columns. There's not a bigger one in town. It was the biggest, most ginormous column house that is even around. And we walked right into it with no money down, no credit, and ended up buying it. You guys, I could tell you story after story after story. Even the home we moved into in the country, you can manifest it. It will show up effortlessly if you will just get into that vortex of deliberately thinking of what you want and not what you don't want. So you guys have a great day. I hope this inspired you, and I look forward to seeing you next Saturday. No Guts, No Story. Have a good day, everyone.